Hi, I'm Never Carefree. Welcome to my channel. I hope this video finds you well, happy, and safe. Today, I'll be taking you through a flip through of the Heart and Hands Tarot by Liz Blackburn. And I'll be sharing why I hate this deck, but also why I love it. It's a very confusing situation that I only have with a mere handful of decks, and this is one of them. In addition to the Heart and Hands Tarot, other black and white decks that drive me whack-a-doodle crazy are 𝗘𝗹𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗃, Visions in the Liminal Space, which is an oracle deck, the Inversion Tarot, and the classic The Hermetic Tarot. I'll be talking about these four in subsequent videos focusing strictly on black and white decks. For now, I'm going to be talking about the Heart and Hands Tarot. Again, this is by Liz Blackburn. I believe it's a US Games. Yes, it is. 2021 US Games. So easily found, mass market online. And talk about the guidebook first. You do not have any thumbnails in the guidebook. It's really thin. But still, you get a thorough interpretation of each card, both upright and reversed meanings. For the start of the upright meaning, you have a brief description of the imagery on the card before it goes into the meaning on the card. Titles of the tarot cards are exactly the same, in keeping with tradition. At the back of the deck, you get the open hand tarot spread with with 7 positions. And that's it in terms of card spreads. So it's a nice little guidebook. If you are a beginner, I do recommend you getting an also intro to tarot book to go with the deck if this is your first deck. I would say it is a good first deck for beginners. The imagery is pretty clear cut, but it just drives me crazy for a variety of reasons. Number one, it's black and white, and as a deck creator myself, I'm the creator of the multi-award-winning Egyptian Lenormand, published by Schiffer in 2014. I love color. So to see anything in black and white, the first thing it does, it just makes me really want to color it in. The problem is decks are created on a slick surface, and so most artistic mediums don't work on this type of surface. Alcohol markers will, and I am so tempted to get them out and color this deck in. But I'm afraid to do that because I think it would interfere with the cleanness of the images, the sharpness of them, and just the beauty of the line work. The line work in this deck is absolutely stunning. So they're out of order because I do work with this deck from time to time, and I didn't take the time to put them all in order. And now I'm going to take you through a flip through and share my other impressions. So we have the star here. Nice that the star is down to earth and is directly over this individual's third eye. I think that's just fantastic because it's from our third eye that we channel universal energies, rolled down from the crown chakra, third eye, and outward. So really nice. And then we get the Ace of Cups. Again, you get the hand holding the cup here, or the goblet, these hearts. Again, the imagery is very clear cut, good for beginners. The Nine of Swords, you get the ringing of the hands, and the 9 swords coming down toward the hands, and teardrops here. Grief, worry, upset, things that keep you up at night. It's all summed up in the imagery quite succinctly. And then we get the 2 of Wands. You get this kind of like a stop hand. And it's really cool. You get this undulating snake. And as the snake's head rears up, instead of the head here, you have the palm of a hand. It's almost like talk to the hand. And so, again, beautiful line work in the background here. And then we get the Three of Cups. Let me put these down. You know, and this is a card of good times and celebration and, you know, hanging out with your friends. So here we have the 3 champagne glasses. We've got a guitarist in the background here. Again, having a good time. And then we get the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords, that's a card of rest, going within, withdrawing from society for a time because you need some inner work done. You need some healing done. And then we get the Three of Pentacles, which is all about working on a project. It's the card of the craftsperson. Someone who's artistic, who's creative, who's working on making something out of nothing. And then we get the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is the happy family card, happy marriage, abundance of all good things. And you have these interlocking hands that go around the cups, and they form kind of a heart shape. And now we get the Strength card, which is the cover image for the deck. Let me grab the box here. Oh, no, it's not. Wait a minute. It's for the booklet. I knew I saw it somewhere as a cover image for the booklet. So Strength is all about overcoming our lower carnal desires. And here we have a lion here, if you can make it out, with all the intricate line work behind. There are the eyes. There's the mouth, the teeth. And the young lady here is forcing the lion's mouth closed. It's open, and she's got both her hands around the snout, kind of forcing the lion to close his mouth. Here are the lion's claws. Here's the woman's face, her hair. You know, they can be a little tricky to make out at first because of all the intricate line work, but it's so stunning, and it forces you to go down into the card and really look at and relate to the imagery. That's what I really love about this deck. Every image draws you into the card. It's a great deck for meditation, which is mainly how I use it. And then we have the Seven of Cups here. You have your 7 cups, each filled with different things, with one being cloaked, you know, the mystery. And the person here having to make a choice between all these different options. Again, with wonderful line work. And we get a court card here. We get the Princess of Cups. Here she is having a cup of, is it tea, is it coffee? It's whatever you'd like it to be. And she's got a goblet of water here, her plate. There's a bottle used as a vase for an orchid. So again, a lot of imagery here in this one card that you can relate to, that you can pull things out of. And the Death card, I really like this Death card. So here we have obviously the skull, but this is a death's head moth depicted on the card. And then we get these circles within circles. It's like cycles within cycles. That's like the karmic wheel, you know, past lives, reincarnation, that sort of thing. And also, you know, it's the belief of some indigenous cultures, particularly the Maya of Central America, in which I have my doctorate, that cycles within cycles, that's how they view time working, kind of like the cogs of a wheel. So that's what this card makes me always think about. Again, pretty cool imagery. And we get the Wheel of Fortune, the lunar phases here. And again, the line work is just incredible. You can tell a great deal of time and thought went into every image. And here we get the Two of Pentacles, which is the card of the juggler, financial juggling. Sometimes we're juggling our time or commitment between work and home, that sort of thing. Then we get the Hanged Man, and here he is wrapped up like a mummy. And then we get this kind of serpentine or perhaps octopus tentacles behind him. You know, he's stuck in limbo, but then there's the promise of spiritual illumination behind the image here. So again, very interesting. We get the Lovers. It's pretty self-explanatory. Here's another court card. This is the Prince of Cups. Let me check to be sure my camera's still going, because I have issues with my phone and it cuts out on me for no reason. So again, really cool. I love the dude's glasses, very trippy looking, very 1960s. And then we get the Queen of Pentacles. So here she is with all the coins, all the pentacles in her hand. You know, they're spilling out. She's so wealthy, so well off that she doesn't even worry about that. And again, it's just very beautiful imagery. The only thing about this card that drives me absolutely crazy with the imagery is I wish she'd been given a little bit more of a lower lip. You just have this two little lines here to hint that she's got a lower lip. It just makes her look weird. But anyway, moving on. Seven of Wands. This is all about standing your guard. Your ground, standing your ground, defending yourself, also being on your guard against any type of attacks from others. We get the Prince of Wands here, and he's kind of like, he's dressed like a biker, and I think this headlight here, this light here, it's the headlight of his motorcycle. Sorry, I can't talk today. Not a good day to be recording a video. And again, you get the dude in cool glasses. So really interesting. There's another deck where I believe the knight, the prince is the knight, princess is the page in the Heart and Hands Tarot. There's another deck where the knight is depicted on a motorcycle. I'm trying to think. If you know it, drop it in the comments below. That type of stuff keeps me awake at night. I have a collection of nearly 300 decks. I'm not going to look through all of them to find that one. And here we go with the Justice card. And justice is all about being impartial, being fair in our decision making, maintaining a balance. And we have the two scales here, which are kind of camouflaged. You know, you really got to look. But they're here. And again, you get the circles within circles, cycles within cycles, decisions. And also in the Heart and Hands Tarot, it's in keeping with the numbering from the Thoth system, where you have justice is number 8, strength is number 11, which we saw further back. Let me see. Where is she? See, she's the 11th card in this deck. Many of you are probably used to those numbers being reversed. Then we have the Magician. And here he is. He's holding what look like paintbrushes. He's got playing cards behind him. Just really cool. He's got cards up his sleeve here. Now, he looks a little nefarious. He looks a little creepy. The dark side of the Magician is, this is the card of the trickster. Someone who's attempting to pull the wool over your eyes. That's the shadow aspect of this card. And then we get the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is all about dogma, religion, doing things by the book. So you get the Christian cross here. You get the hand. Again, that idea, talk to the hand, or I'm not going to do it your way. It's my way or the highway type feeling of this card. Here is the 8 of Wands, pretty traditional, where you get your 8 wands that are flying through the air. It's a card of speed, of travel, quick developments in a situation, something or someone that's on the move. Here is the Princess of Pentacles, which is the same as the Page of Pentacles. Lost in dreamland, deep in thought. You know, the Princess of Pentacles, she's basically the eternal student, someone who's always learning, who loves the process of learning. Here's the Empress, which is more of an abstract representation. Here's her face right here in profile, hidden. Then we have the 10 of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles, Here's the Queen of Swords, and the expression of sadness on her face and the look of grief in her eyes. It's just, again, it just really draws you into the card. And we have the Princess of Swords. And the Five of Pentacles. The Six of Swords. Here is the boat, traditionally depicting a couple of people going across water to a brighter horizon. Here the swords are laying inside the boat. There's the horizon. Here we have the World. And again, just all this line work. It just makes me want to know how large are the originals and how much time did it take Liz Blackbird to design this deck, create every image. Here's the King of Wands. The Five of Wands. Petty arguments, disagreements, the inability to get along, sometimes out and out fighting. We get the Seven of Swords, which is about taking something to which you're not entitled. The Queen of Wands. And the Ace of Pentacles, the seed of potential. Or plant your seed, watch it grow. And then we get the Chariot. Here's the Hermit. And we get the Nine of Wands. Slow and steady progress on a project or a situation. We get the Four of Cups here. The Two of Cups, which represents a couple getting to know each other in the early stages of dating, or just a younger relationship, a couple that hasn't been together very long. We get the Moon card here. Again, very cool imagery. The Ten of Swords. So instead of a body being stabbed by 10 swords, we get 2 hands stabbed by swords, because of course this is the Heart and Hands Tarot. And then we get the King of Cups, which I think is just an absolutely stunning card. He's holding a bowl here, possibly a chalice. That's probably the stem of the chalice right here, with a lotus. And then we get the Four of Pentacles, which is the card of the miser, someone who is adverse to sharing their resources with others, keeps it all to themselves. And then we get the Eight of Swords, which is the card of feeling bound or stuck in a situation, trapped. The Six of Pentacles, that's the card of generosity and of giving. And here we have the Emperor. And what's really cool here, she worked in the ram's horn as his headdress. The Princess of Wands. The Four of Wands. Here we get the Five of Cups, represents loss, but with something left over. And here we have the Six of Wands. This is traditionally interpreted as victory after a battle, or after a struggle, or after lengthy delays. And we have the Judgment card. This is a card of awakening, spiritual awakening. So it's really cool how you have these dead bodies depicted here, and their heads are blooming into flowers. You know, that's the spiritual awakening, the card of spiritual realization. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles. Temperance, which is a card of balance and harmony and all things in moderation. Again, very intricate line work on this card. And it just draws you in. And then we have the Eight of Cups. So another thing that really gets on my nerves about this deck and drives me absolutely whack-a-doodle cray-cray. The massively thick borders. Now I can understand why they're there, because the artist decided in designing her deck here to go outside the border of the image, you know, here and there. So that's why you have the thick white borders, but still, oh my gosh, to go through and, you know, tie them together in a reading, to me, it's just, it makes my mind jump from card to card, whereas I just like there to be, you know, no border, and then for me, the reading just kind of flows along. So that's one of my pet peeves about tarot decks. Here is the High Priestess, and here she is. You don't see her eyes, but that's her third eye there. And then we get the Nine of Cups, popularly known as the Wish card. The Prince of Pentacles. Here's the Two of Swords. The Queen of Cups. The Sun card. I love the Sun card in this deck. And it's like it's saying new growth from death or from old things, because here you have like a partial skeleton here. So the skeleton, it's so ancient that it's been decomposing that even the bones were kind of gone. But you've got all these flowers growing from it. And then you've got kind of a yin and yang symbol in the sun itself. Here's the Six of Cups. A record player in the background, for those of you who don't know what a record player is. Oh my God. Okay. Here is the Ace of Swords. And we get the Devil. The Three of Wands. Your ship is about to come in. New opportunities, improvements in a situation, growth. Here we get the Tower, struck by lightning, disaster, chaos, things in ruins. But there's always rubble remaining from which we can rebuild. Here's the Three of Swords. And here we get the Fool card. And the Prince of Swords. The Ace of Wands. Which is really interesting to me with all the lightning. I mean, wands are activity, action, high energy. So I guess that's why the lightning's there. But to me, I associate lightning with destruction, like on the Tower card. So to me, to have lightning in the Ace of Wands, it's just kind of weird. But when, you know, when lightning strikes a tree, it can start a fire. And wands are the suit of the element of fire. So, you know, in that regard, they do make perfect sense there. Just not to me personally. You know, when you get a tarot deck, not every card's going to jive with you. That's just, you know, the way of it. And here we have the King of Swords. And the Five of Swords. The Ten of Wands, which is a card of excessive burdens and responsibilities. But they are burdens and responsibilities that you take on willingly. And then here we have the King of Pentacles. And finally, the Seven of Pentacles, which wraps up the Heart and Hands Tarot by Liz Blackbird. Now, to see how they shuffle. The cardstock is very, very good quality. It's kind of like a semi-gloss on the cards. And then to shuffle them, they're easy to shuffle. And I point out I have weak wrists. I have trouble shuffling a lot of decks now due to a changing health situation. This doesn't give me much trouble at all. Really nice. And again, there's the card back. So there you go. The Heart and Hands Tarot by Liz Blackbird, published by US Games. If you like this video, I ask you please subscribe to my channel, give the video a like, drop a comment. I am trying to grow my channel. New YouTube rules: instead of 4,000 watch hours in a year and 1,000 subscribers, new creators, in order to get monetized, need 1,000 subscribers still, but we now need 8,000 watch hours. This channel is just over 500 subscribers. I am nowhere near the 4,000 hour requirement, which expires on February 1st. So I would have to get monetized before February 1st. And the reason I want to get monetized, it's always been my dream with my YouTube channel to be able to provide you with exclusive content. The only way I can do that to where content is unavailable to the general public is to have memberships. I need 500 subscribers, which I do have, but I need 3,000 watch hours. So I basically need 1,400 more watch hours to get there. So I'm hoping you'll help me out with that. Come back, watch more videos, go into my playlists, into my channel, watch the older videos. I have quite a number of tarot flip-throughs, and I'm also getting into tarot journaling. That's going to be a whole series of that, where I take you through it step by step, how to tarot journal, so you'll want to check that out too. But thank you for being there. I appreciate you all so much. This is Nefer Kefri. I'm wishing you a very blessed day ahead.